Welcome to This Week in Nerf, your source for first-party, third-party, and community Nerf news. I'm Adriana, and let's just jump right into it. Mr. Heathpants has released an update for the Pigeon. The semi-auto mini flywheel pistol can now be fed by Talon mags. This version has a couple of differences from the original Katana design, most important of which is that there is no mag release. The Talon version will use a detent similar to the Talon adapters. This change also means that there is no more grip rev. So the Talon version goes back to the standard rev on trigger pull. If you decide to give this version a try, it is important to note that though they are published, MHP has not tested these changes yet and is looking for feedback on how it can be improved further. Let us know in the comments what blasters you think still need Talon support. Speaking of mini flywheels, I, along with several others, received a surprise package in the mail on Friday. Night Owl Nerf has sent what he is calling Moonlight MicroWheels. They appear to be similar in size and shape to the Flywheel the World wheels and used in ultra-compact flywheel blasters like the Pigeon. We emailed Night Owl and he says his wheels are higher crush and made in Texas. He claims he's getting 120 to 130 FPS in a single-stage Pigeon cage but hasn't tested other setups yet. Pending further testing, we've also asked about the possibility of selling the wheels, and it sounds like they could go for around $13 a pair. That's not bad. We're also told the production wheels will not be white like the prototype sent out this week, but instead will be a sort of blue pearlescent color. They look really nice. We love seeing more options available for modders, and the micro wheel space has been growing a lot lately. There's more news on smaller than normal sized flywheels. Foam Blast, hey, that's us. Foam Blast has almost finished with the development of an aftermarket high crush cage for the Worker Hurricane. It's a 3D printed cage that's as close to drop-in as Michelle can make it. It requires some minor internal shell cutting to fit 18 gauge wire, and I guess that explains why Worker used 20 gauge wire. The ideal motors look to be Fang revamps for now, since Honey Badgers lack the torque for higher crush setups. The ideal RPM will likely be around 45,000 to 48,000 for these wheels, as Michelle noticed a small increase in performance with a low voltage 3S LiPo. With a full charge 3S, performance was actually lower than 2S. Michelle only tested with Fang revamps, but it should be noted that the ball bearings push the wheels out a little bit too much, so you will need to remove the barrel guide on the Hurricane and snip these two tabs off the shell. With these simple modifications, she was seeing highs in the 140s with averages around 130 to 135 feet per second. That said, the Category 2 cage should be for sale next week when we get the specialized screws needed to mount the motors. We mentioned the DDart a couple of weeks ago, but we just saw a little more footage of it in action from a video posted by Foam from Above on YouTube. It looks a little slow, but the blaster has likely been used all day on its little AAA batteries. I'm very interested in what potential it has if you were to overvolt it. Another potential worry is the lack of a rev trigger. It seems like there's a switch above the trigger that turns on the motors, and then the outer ring rotates and only fires when the ring happens to line up. It could fire right as you pull the trigger, or a second after, depending on where the ring is when you started. Regardless, I'm still digging the look, and I'm hoping to pick one up when they become available. ADAS1223 on Reddit posted some 3D printed rival magazines in a 10 and 15 ball version. Powered by bungee cords, these are an interesting option for rival users. The ones that still use mags anyway. Hashtag Proton Pack life. The poster says they spent a few weeks tweaking them to feed reliably, so I'm hopeful they could be a good addition to someone's arsenal. It's definitely nice to have a higher capacity option for mag-fed blasters if you don't have a Proton Pack. It's time for Mod of the Week. For that, we're going to go to Drac for the weather. The weather? Drac, you're live.
Thanks, Eddie. And now for the weather. Today's forecast shows a 100% chance of balls. That's right. The mod of the week is from Exiled this week, and it is a serious juggernaut, like certainly a juggernaut class blaster. So coming in with the name of Gluttony, I believe this to be a continuation of his 7 Deadly Sins series, which, by the way, I love. I love it when the names and the themes all mix and match together, and truly, this is a voracious blaster indeed. So as a Prometheus, has massive onboard capacity, as well as high rate of fire, and my biggest complaint about it has always been the ergonomics. Exiled has fixed all that by taking a Shadowhawk and integrating it into the original rechargeable battery area, obviously taking this up to LiPo power, and then removing that front handle carry attachment, which gives it a super Nemesis-esque rifle feel, and that is what the Prometheus always should have been. If you're gonna make a big Nemesis, make a big Nemesis, right guys? It now harkens a real hero vibe from like the Alien series to me, and I think that that's what the Prometheus always should have been. Get it? Prometheus? Aliens? Never mind. Anyway, he's loaded it out with a ton of LED tech. Not only does it have a main onboard flashlight for those nighttime HVZ missions, but it also has a muzzle flash effect and a full tray in the bottom to illuminate any glow-in-the-dark balls that might be installed later, apparently. Overall, just an amazing mod. Aesthetically, looks incredible. I dig the like hot rod flamed out paint job. I like removing a lot of that sci-fi sort of aesthetic, the very sterile sci-fi aesthetic, and taking it back to like 70s nitty-gritty sci-fi with the flame job. I think that that looks really cool. The removal of the translucency in the hopper means that you can't count your rounds anymore, but do you really care to count your rounds when you're just unloading them all at once anyway? Hats off to you, Exiled. Can't wait to see you finish your 7 Deadly Sins series. Back to you, Addie.
Thank you, Drac. That is one hungry blaster. For Video of the Week, we chose Naptown Nerf's incredibly detailed Rival Hypnos mod guide. Zach clearly put a lot of effort into this video, and it shows. As always, he shows a step-by-step procedure for how to upgrade the blaster using a K26 spring. After the mod, the blaster was hitting quite a bit harder in the mid-120s. So if you're planning on picking up Hypnos to mod, give Naptown's video a watch first to make sure you know what you're getting yourself into. There are a lot of little pieces inside of that blaster. That's all for this week in Nerf. We'll see you next week, Sunday morning at 10 a.m. Pacific. I'm Adriana, and goodbye.